Many people have seen products made in China, but very few have seen the factories and workers behind them. Hello everyone, I'm John. I work in a small stainless steel fabrication factory in China. Today, I'd like to show you how a product made in China goes from a sheet of metal to a finished product step by step. And also the workers who stand beside these machines every day. After a customer submits their requirement, we first create the drawings. For a factory, a drawing is where an order truly begins. Next, those drawings become metal sheet parts and eventually the product the customer needs. Following the dimensions on the drawings, the machine cuts metal sheets into different parts. This is one of the jobs I usually do. Many people think that factories today are fully automated, but that's not really the case. The worker loading steel sheet and sheeting the machine today usually does other jobs as well. In a small factory like ours, many people's roles are not fixed. Wherever help is needed, that's where we go. I'm the same way. Sometimes I operate the laser cutting machine, sometimes I work at the bending machine, and sometimes I take care of other tasks. We recently moved into this workshop. Even though it's still full of steel, sheets, and noise, for us, it's already an improvement. The previous workshop was smaller and there wasn't much room for people to work. This workshop is much larger than before and the working environment has improved as well. For workers, having a little more space makes the job feel less cramped. Compare with large factories, there aren't many people here, but from the beginning of an order to the end, almost everyone is involved. We work 12 hours a day and 6 days a week. This is one reason why people often ask why products made in China can be sold at such low prices. The answer isn't really a mystery. Longer working hours, higher equipment utilization, and keeping costs under control at every step of the process. Sometimes I think about it too. When people buy a product, they only see the finished result. But a few hours earlier, or even a few days earlier, it might have been nothing more than an ordinary sheet of metal. After the cutting is finished, the parts are sent to the bending area, just like folding paper. A flat sheet of metal is gradually formed into shape here. After bending, the originally flat metal sheet slowly becomes a three-dimensional structure. Some smaller parts can be handled by one or two people, but some metal sheets are very large and quite heavy. In those cases, several people usually need to work together. The metal sheet using now requires 4 people working at the same time. One person operates the machine, another supports the metal sheet, and someone else watches the positioning. A lot of the time, people aren't just doing their own job, they are also helping others do theirs. After the bending process, these parts begin to take on the shape of the final product. But for now, they're still just individual pieces. Before the welding begins, the workers still need to do a simple preparation step. Many stainless steel sheets have a protective film on the surface. So, before welding, it needs to be removed first. For many products, welding is when they truly begin to take shape. The cutting and bending before these are more like preparing the materials. The workers first use spot welding to temporarily hold the different parts together. In our factory, welders have always played a very important role because the final quality of many products depends on the welding. That's why the welders are often among the most respected people in the factory. For younger workers, learning how to operate a machine is not difficult. What is truly difficult is gaining experience. After this step, the basic frame of the product has started to take shape. Next, it moves on to the laser welding process. This machine was purchased by the factory later on. Many years ago, most of this work would have been done using traditional welding methods. Back then, many tasks depended heavily on the workers' experience. Today, more and more factories are adopting newer equipment. Machines handle more of the repetitive work, while workers are responsible for operating and adjusting them. Of course, machines cannot replace everyone. They simply make Jobs that used to be more complicated a little easier. Many factories are constantly upgrading their equipment. The reason is actually quite simple. Workers' wages keep rising and customers expect higher quality than ever before. If efficiency can't keep up, it becomes difficult for a factory to stay competitive. For workers, this is a change as well. Jobs that once relied mainly on physical labor are increasingly being done with the help of machines. Sometimes I wonder, 10 years from now, what this place will look like. Will there be more machines or will it still need this many workers? After the main structure is completed, the next step is to install the outer component. These components are also made of stainless steel. Some need to be drilled first, while others need their dimension adjusted beforehand. Once everything is prepared, the workers install them onto the main structure one by one. Traditional TIG welding is used here. In our small factory, there isn't a separate person assigned to every single step. Many tasks have to be completed together. Once all the components have been installed, the main structure of the product is basically complete. But at this point, it still can't leave the factory. The marks left behind by welding still need further treatment. When people see a stainless steel product, they often assume it was shiny from the beginning. But in reality, after going through cutting, bending, and welding, the surface is usually covered with processing marks. That's why workers still need to polish it to make the surface smoother and more even. Very often, whether a product looks good or not comes down to these final details. After the polishing is finished, there is still one final simple step: cleaning the welded areas. Once these steps are completed for our factory, the product is considered finished. But for the customer, it is still not the final product. Next, it will be sent to other factories for further processing and assembly, eventually becoming the finished product. And this is how many manufacturing companies operate. Each factory is responsible for only part of the process, from laser cutting to bending, from welding to polishing and cleaning. Behind a single product, there is usually not just one person and not just one company. It is the result of many ordinary people working together. For the customer, this may be just one leg of a relay race. But for the workers here, this is their everyday work. The things you buy may look like nothing more than a cold, lifeless object. But just a few days earlier, it may have been nothing more than a sheet of metal being worked on again and again by these workers. You may never meet them, but many of the things you use every day have passed through their hands. No matter what country you are in, behind every product, there are ordinary workers. They rarely appear on camera, yet they keep factories running and help support our everyday lives.